One quiet Sunday afternoon after Mass, Joseph wandered behind the old stone church, while the bells still echoed softly through the town. Behind the churchyard fence stood rows of old graves surrounded by tall weeds and fallen leaves. Some flowers had withered long ago, and vines climbed slowly across several weathered crosses. Joseph stopped quietly. "Does anyone still take care of this place?" he wondered softly. That evening, while helping stack firewood beside the barn, Joseph asked his father about the churchyard behind St. Michael's Church. His father brushed dust from his hands thoughtfully. "I'm not really sure anymore," he admitted. "I know an older man used to care for it years ago." Joseph looked down quietly, still thinking about the lonely graves beneath the weeds. The next afternoon, Joseph visited the parish rectory and gently asked Father Benedict about the churchyard. The priest smiled sadly. "Mr. Donnelly used to care for the graves every week," Father Benedict explained, "but he's grown older and has been very sick lately." He glanced out the rectory window toward the churchyard. There hasn't been anyone able to keep up with it recently. That night, Joseph could not stop thinking about the forgotten churchyard and the elderly man who once cared for it so faithfully. The next morning, he quietly gathered work gloves, a rake, gardening tools, and several flower seeds from the shed. When Patrick asked what he was doing, Joseph smiled softly. "I think the churchyard deserves to look beautiful again." Early Saturday morning, Joseph arrived behind the church and began slowly clearing the weeds around the oldest graves. The work was harder than he expected. Thick vines wrapped around several crosses and fallen branches covered parts of the stone pathways. Still, Joseph continued carefully, one grave at a time. Little by little, the churchyard began looking peaceful once more. Over the next several weeks, Joseph continued returning after school, and on quiet afternoons, he planted white lilies, small blue flowers, and fresh greenery beside many of the graves. He swept the pathways clean and carefully straightened fallen crosses and old decorations. Soon, sunlight once again shone across flowers gently blooming behind the church. Before long, parishioners began quietly noticing the beautiful changes in the churchyard. After Mass, families slowly wandered behind the church once again to pray beside the graves and admire the flowers blooming there. Even Father Benedict smiled warmly each time he looked across the peaceful grounds. One cool autumn afternoon, Joseph noticed an elderly man slowly walking beside the churchyard fence with a cane in his hand. It was Mr. Donnelly. For a long moment, the old man stood silently looking across the clean pathways and blooming flowers. Then his eyes filled gently with emotion. "You cared for it beautifully," he whispered softly. As the evening sun glowed warmly behind St. Michael's Church, Joseph stood quietly beside Mr. Donnelly among the peaceful rows of flowers and crosses. The once forgotten churchyard no longer felt lonely or abandoned. Now it had become a place of peace, prayer, and remembrance once again. "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy." Matthew 5:7.